Trupti M, is it audible?
Sir, it's audible.
Yeah, thank you. Already it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, let me start. Why? Because already we are running late. Okay. Yeah. So regarding the last video, before the internals, we were discussing regarding the allocation of disk space. So regarding the heading, so from examination point of view, this can be also asked in other words. So the file allocation methods. So allocation of disk space or file allocation methods, both are same. Okay, both carry same meaning. In the examination, they may ask you explain the three types of file allocation methods, or they may ask you explain the various methods for allocation of disk space. So basically, we had the three basic types of allocation of disk space, and those were the continuous allocation. Second one was linked allocation, and third one was indexed allocation. So in the last video, we had seen this continuous allocation as well as linked allocation as well as indexed allocation, which has got their own diagrams. Okay, so you need to explain each and every individual types of allocation methods along with the associated diagrams. And I told you, don't get confused with the diagrams. Okay. Like we had seen this continuous allocation as well as this particular figure, as well as the linked allocation, where we have the use of a linked list, where we are connecting so these disk blocks one with another. Okay, and as well as we have seen this file allocation table FAT. Okay, so now coming to this index allocation, of course we have discussed this diagram. So, but to have a slight refresh, let me deal with this one more time. So here what we do is here we use something called as index. So once I say index means so you can compare this with the normal book index. So for any textbook we have the index as the first page. Okay, so using index, what we know is, so at what all locations you have the particular chapters to be printed. So you can know the page number and the starting page of each and every chapter. Okay, so that becomes more easy for us to locate all the chapters, right, and the page numbers. Okay, exactly similar to that here in case of index allocation of disk space. So what we do here is, so we have to maintain an index of all the blocks that are allocated to a particular file. Okay, so we store the block address like in a single block, and that particular single block which holds the address of all the blocks is called as index table, or in short we call it as FMT. Okay, so what is FMT? FMT stands for file map table. Okay, so this acts as an index where we maintain the addresses of disk block. Okay, so what do you mean by this disk block? As you can see here, so these rectangular box, what you can see here are the disk blocks available on the hard disk. Okay, so the addresses of these disk blocks will be maintained, okay, in a table called as file map table. Okay, remember this. So this file map table contains the block addresses of all the disk blocks what you are seeing here in the diagram, okay, allocated to a particular file. So in the figure you can see here two files are there, right? So you can have a file name alpha and a file by name beta. So alpha and beta are the two files, so which are being indicated in the dictionary. Okay, so we have the indication of file name alpha and beta as well as the location information, right? So in the figure you can have two files alpha and beta, and here we need two file map tables. Here we need two FMT tables, two file map tables, one for each file, means one file map table for file alpha, second file map table for file beta. Okay, so individual FMT table is there for each and every file alpha and for file beta. So this FMT alpha, okay, small letter FMT alpha is the file map table for the file alpha, and FMT beta is the file map table for the file beta. Okay, So here FMT alpha contains the addresses of all the blocks. Okay, FMT alpha contains the address of all the blocks which are allocated to the file alpha. Similarly, FMT beta also contains the address of all the blocks which are allocated to the file beta. Okay, so now see, like we have the dictionary here. So this dictionary entry of location information. Okay, so here we store the address of these files, FMT tables, FMT alpha as well as FMT beta. So in the location information field of this dictionary, we store the address of these file map tables. Okay, so for the file alpha, the location information field contains the address of FMT alpha, and for the location information for the file beta, so this field contains the address of this FMT beta. Okay, so if we access the address of FMT alpha, right, stored in the location information of dictionary, in turn it means that I'm able to access all the blocks which are accessed to that particular file. Okay, similarly for the file beta also, by knowing the address of and this FMT beta. Okay, so by knowing the address of FMT beta stored in the dictionary entry, right here in the location information of dictionary entry, we can access all the blocks that are allocated, right, for the file beta. Okay, so this information is been shown using these arrow marks, right? Okay, so you can explain these for indexed allocation. Okay, so next going for the multi-level indexing, right? So in the earlier figure, like in the earlier figure, so what we saw was, so we have index table like meant for each and every file, right? So this like this topology holds good if the size of the size of this FMT is very small. Okay, suppose if the size of this file map table is small, means I can go for this sort of topology. Suppose if the size of the file map table is very large. Okay, so this means that suppose if the size of the file itself is very large, means obviously I'll be having a larger file map table. Okay, so for a larger file, this will be having a large size file map table. Okay, suppose if it is the case, means we can have a larger FMT table, right? So for the medium and the large files, the size of this file map table, right, FMT, FMT will be also large. So the size of the index will be also large. Okay, like in this case, what we can do is I can go for this multi-level indexing, right? So for example, if the content page of any book is itself say 100 of pages, so what we can do, I can go for content to content, right? I can go for index to the index, right? So same concept here also. Suppose if the FMT table is very large, and this could happen if the file itself is very large, means I can expect the FMT table to be also of larger size. Like in that case, I can go for index to index, or I can go for content to content. So for example, in the figure, so you can see here the file map table, right? So this file map table FMT contains the address of the index blocks. Like as you can see here, like these blocks are called as index blocks, and the address of these index blocks will be held in the FMT table, right? I repeat, this FMT table, file map table, contains the addresses of these index blocks, what we are seeing here. Okay, and so these index blocks will in turn contain the address of these data blocks. Like as you can see here, like all these blocks are the data blocks, and the address of these data blocks will be held in the index blocks, and in turn the address of these index blocks will be held in the FMT table. Okay, yeah, right. So these index blocks, like it does not contain any sort of data. Instead, it contains the pointers to these data blocks as indicated so by these lines. Okay, so you can see that FMT, right, file map table contains the address of the index blocks, and in turn, so these index blocks will be containing the address of the data blocks. So like this can be called as a two-level indexing. Okay, Okay, so for a medium or large files, as the size of FMT table becomes very large, right? Like in those situations, I can go for the use of this multi-level indexing, okay, as shown below. So the first level indirection points to the index block, and the second level is pointing to the data block. Okay, so the first level of indexing is pointing to the index block, and the second level of pointing, as you can see here, is pointing to the data blocks. Okay, so you can explain this multi-level indexing also, right? So next topic is the interface between the file system and IOCS. Okay, so we have the interfacing between the file system and input output control system, IOCS. Like as we know that IOCS stands for input output control system. Okay, so basically the file system will be using the IOCS, right, input output control system, so as to perform the IO operations, right? According to our previous discussion, we had seen, so this particular figure where we have the file system as the topmost layer, and below that we have the input output control system layers. So where the main function of IOCS layer is to have like it provides a mechanism for doing the input and output operations. Okay, so as to have efficient access to the records in a file. So the file system will use this IOCS input output control system so as to perform the IO operations, and the IOCS implement them through the kernel calls. Okay, so we have the use of the kernel calls wherein the input output control system will be able to implement them using the kernel calls or the system calls. Okay, so the interface between the file system and the IOCS will be consisting of basically the three data structures. Like you need to understand the meaning of FMT table and its details, and similarly FCB. FCB stands for file control block, and OFT stands for open file tables, and some functions like that are able to do the IO operations. Like in the last video also, like we have seen this FCB table, okay, file control block, and the details of this file control block. So what all fields we have, what all fields you can find in the file control block. So where this file control block or FCB contains all the information with respect to the file processing activity. Okay, so we have the various fields. Okay, so various fields present in this file control block that we have seen already, as well as the sources of these information. So the variety of sources from which we have the deriving of those fields are also discussed regarding this particular table that I'm speaking. Okay, so whatever fields are there in the file control block, so for example, the file organization, right? And in this category can find these many fields. So for example, the file name and file type. Suppose if it is say C language file, means I can have the extension .c, or if it is a Python program, means I can use .py, etc. So the file type and organization of the file, and also the access methods and the device type and addresses, right? Size of a file, size of the record, size of a block, okay? Number of buffers used to store the files, and the name of the access method, etc. And regarding the dictionary information also, we have these many fields. Okay, like this table, like we have seen already, where we have these many fields, right, in this file control block FCB. Okay, so same concept here also. With respect to the interface between the file system and IOCS. Okay, so the file system uses this IOCS to perform the IO operations, and with respect to the interface between these two entities, file system and IOCS, we need to use these three data structures, namely FMT, file map table, FCB, file control block, and OFT. OFT stands for open file table, right? Along with these three data structures, I may also need some functions that may perform the input and output functions, right? Input and output operations. So the use of these data structures, namely FMT, FCB, and OFT, why we use these data structures, okay, is So as to avoid the repeated processing of the file attributes by the file system. And second use is it provides a convenient, easy method of tracking the status of ongoing file processing activity, as we know that all the information regarding the file processing activities will be stored in the file control block. Okay, hence, so we have a convenient, easy method of tracking the activities, okay, that are going on inside the file. Okay, so regarding this particular figure, so what you can know is, so we have here the mapping between the system calls that are used by the file system as well as the system calls that are used by the IOCS layer. So the example for the system calls can be the open, right? Open file, close file, read and write file, etc. So these functions are mapped to the functions which are there in the IOCS layer. Okay, so we have one-to-one mapping between the functions calls of the file system and the function calls that are used in the IOCS layer. So we can have the functions like IOCS open, IOCS close, IOCS read, write, etc. Okay, so therefore you can find here one-to-one mapping between the functions or system calls which are used in the file system layer and with the functions which are used in the IOCS layer, right? And you can see that the file system is the top layer and will use the facilities which are provided by this below layer, so-called IOCS layer. Okay, so by keeping this in mind, we can have the some details regarding FMT and FCB and OFT. Okay, so while dealing with the interface between the file system and the input-output control system. So again, like these are the details with respect to the same table. So what all fields you can find inside the FCB and the main function of the file control block. So file control block FCB's main function is to hold or contains all the information with respect to the file processing activity, namely the file organization details as well as the directory information details as well as the current state of the processing. Okay, so next is something called as FMT. So FMT stands for a file map table. So this file map table contains information about the disk blocks which are allocated to a particular file, right? And this FMT table was also used in the indexed allocation, right? What we have seen in the previous slide. So the function of file map table will be containing the information about the disk blocks which are allocated to a particular file. And regarding this OFT, so this OFT stands for open file table. So this open file table will be holding the files which are opened by the process. Okay, so whatever the files that are opened, okay, so information regarding the files which are opened by the process will be held in the open file table, right? Understand the meaning of this FMT and FCB and OFT along with the information that will be contained, right, like in these data structures. So this OFT will be holding the FCBs of all the open files, right? So that means that suppose if I open a file, so then the file system will be able to store its file control block in a new entry of the OFT. Okay, so for this we have a figure where we can show that upon opening the file, so what the file system will do is the file system will be able to store its file control block in a new entry of the open file table, like so where you can find the offset also. So the offset of this entry, right, inside the OFT is called as internal ID of the file. So for this statement, yeah, here is the details. So you can see the figure here. So whatever the statements what we had given, all the information is been given here. Okay, so we have a file. Okay, suppose if I open a file, okay, so when a file is opened, so then the file system will be able to store its file control block information, right, in a new file, right, so called OFT table. So when a file is opened, the file system, what it will do is it will store its file control block FCB in a new file, okay, of the open file table, right? Again, recall that OFT, open file table, stores information about the files which have been opened, right? Like as we discussed in the previous slide, right? So upon opening a file here, the file system will be able to store the file control block in a new file of the open file table. Okay, so we have a term called here internal ID of the file. Okay, like having an offset of 6, like we have shown here. Okay, so like that is the offset of this particular entry in the OFT table is called as the internal ID of the file. Like here it is. So this ID is again passed back to the process, like as you can see here. Okay, upon closing the file, so this ID will be passed back to the process, where the process can make use of this particular ID as a parameter for all its future operations. Okay, so the above figure is showing that. So what we need to do, so when a file alpha is opened, okay, so what all things will happen upon opening the file alpha, like is been shown here. So the first step is to say first the file system will be able to copy the FMT alpha in the memory, okay, and secondly it creates FCB alpha, like as you can see here, FCB alpha is brightly present here. So it creates FCB alpha, which is an file control block for alpha in the OFT table, open file table. Okay, and third point is it will initiate its field and passes back its offset, means internal ID of alpha is again passed back, right? Again passed back its offset in the OFT table, and in this case here it is 6. Okay, so this 6 or the internal ID of alpha is again passed back to the process as the internal ID underscore alpha. Okay, so you can see here the overall operations or the arrangement setup. So when a file alpha is being opened here, so the file system will be able to copy the FMT alpha in the memory. Okay, and second one is it creates FCB alpha. Here it is. So which is an FCB for alpha, file alpha in the OFT table, and it also initializes its fields appropriately. And again, it will pass back its offset, means internal ID of alpha, having an ID of 6 is again passed back, which is in this case it is 6 to the process as internal underscore ID alpha. Okay, so you can explain this figure along with these 3 steps, okay, upon opening the file alpha, right? So now coming to the various operations, okay, that are being supported by this file system. So the file system will be able to support these many operations. So one is open system call or open operation. Second one is close operation. Third one is read write operation. So here we are listing the operations, okay, operations that are being supported by the file system. So one is open, second one is the close, and third one is the read write. And as we have discussed later also, we have one-to-one mapping between the system calls that are being present in the file system as well as the system calls that are present in the IOCS layer. So here are the list of operations, okay, in the IOCS layer, like namely IOCS open, IOCS close operation, and IOCS read operation. Okay, so we have here the mapping between system calls that are used by this file system, like namely open system call and close system call and read write system call, with the functions which are there in the IOCS layer, as you can see here. So we have the interfaces of system calls like IOCS open, IOCS close, and IOCS read and write, okay, along with the syntax, okay, syntax of system calls or operations, right, that are being supported by the file systems. So for example, if I take open system calls means, right, so you can have the mentioning of the word OPEN open followed by the file name, And second field will be the processing mode. Like this processing mode field indicates what kind of operations will be performed on the file. And third field will be the file attributes, like all the file characteristics. Say, for example, the size of the record, size of the file, and the production information, okay, etc. So we have like this particular syntax to be followed for the file operations, namely open and close and read write operations. Okay. So along with this particular figure, I can also mention the list of operations or system calls which have been supported by the file system. And here are the list of system calls which are supported by the IOCS layer, right? Input output control system layer. So next topic is the overview of file processing. So the overview of file processing. So for that we have this particular figure. Okay. So we have something called as the source program here. Okay. So the like in the figure you can see the source program. So the processing of file alpha, like in a process executed by the user U is been shown here, right? So firstly you can find the compiler program is also there, right, along with the source program or the source code. Okay, like in the table, like in the figure, so what you can see here, so we have the source program, right, and this source program will be containing the declarations of the file alpha, and we have used so many operations like open and read and close, right, along with the file name to be mentioned. Okay, so you can see the source program here, and this containing a declaration of the file alpha, right? And we also see, or we have this compiled version of this particular file or program alpha. Here it is. Okay, so we also see the compiled version of this program. So the compiler will create an FCB or the file control block, right? So for the file alpha, and this has been denoted as FCB alpha, right? FCB alpha, here it is. Okay, so we have the creation of the file control block for the file alpha, like, and that is denoted by FCB alpha, right? So the compiler will now replace the statement open, read, and close, okay, and file alpha, right? So with the system calls on the file system operations open, read, and alpha. Okay, so the basic point here is that the compiler will be able to replace the statements open, read, and alpha in the source program with the system calls, right, or the functions available on the file system operations, namely open operation, read operation, and the alpha, right, or the file name. Okay, so you can notice that the first parameter in all these calls, like open call or read call or close call, right, like in all these operations, the first parameter in all these calls is the address of FCB alpha. Okay, that is, here we are using, I mean, like, here we are not using the file name as alpha. Instead, we are using the address of FCB alpha. Okay, so we are like, you can also see the list of operations like 1, 2, like these numbers. Okay, so we have the operation of this particular, like the file processing activity that will be carried out like in these steps 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 8 number of steps are there. Okay, so now let us see the steps in the following processing of files, okay, involved in the file system and in IOCS layer. Okay, and you can also notice the numbers from 1 to 8 being mentioned here. Okay, so the first process, what you can see here is, so the process will be able to execute the call open, right, open alpha, read, and file attributes. Here it is. Okay, open alpha, and we're doing the read operation. Why? Because, so like before you do any sort of operation on the file, you need to first open the file. Okay, and for that we have system call, so by name open. Okay, and the first field will be the name of the file as well as the attributes is the, like here we're performing the read operation. Okay, so the first step here is that the process will be able to execute the call open alpha and read file attribute. Here it is. And second step is, so this file system will be able to create a new file control block, new FCB in the new FCB in the open file table. Here it is, right? Inside the open file table, the file system will be able to create a new FCB in the open file table, right? So by name FCB alpha. So the file system now will make a call IOCS open with the internal ID alpha. Okay. Yes. So this third step here is IOCS will access the directory entry of the alpha. Like here you can find a directory. Okay. So where the IOCS will be able to access the directory entry of the file alpha and copies the file size and address of the FMT. Also notice the functionality of this FMT as well. Okay. So this IOCS access the directory entry of the file alpha, and it will also copy the file size and the address of this file map table FMT. Why? Because that we know that so this directory information, okay, is available through the joint actions of the file system and IOCS. Okay, so this file system will be able to decide the actual location of the file in the system. Okay, like when we create the file system will be able to decide the actual location of the file in the system, and it will store this information in the directory entry of the file. Okay, and IOCS is just like it will copy this information into the file control block when a file is opened for reading. Okay, same thing is happening here in like here in the step 3. Step number 4 is, suppose if the process try to say read, okay, try to read a record, like as you can see here. So read internal ID alpha, like having offset of 6 here, for example. Suppose if the process is trying to read a record of alpha into the area like having address XYZ, it will activate this read operation of the file system with internal ID alpha, okay, at address as AD XYZ as the parameter. So next fixed step is information about the location of the file alpha is available in the FCB alpha. Why? Because FCB contains, file control block contains all information related to the file processing activities. Hence, the information about the location of this file alpha is available in the FCB alpha. Sixth step here, what you can see here is, so the process will activate the close function. Okay, so close operation has been activated by the process. So with internal alpha as a parameter, okay, internal ID alpha as a parameter, right? So the file system will be able to activate this close operation. Seventh step, so the file system will make a call IOCS underscore close. Again, you can notice here we have one-to-one mapping between the operations at the file system layer as well as the operations or system calls in the IOCS layer. Okay, hence the file system will now make a call IOCS underscore close. Okay, and again you can recall the syntax of IOCS close, like having this particular format, like what we have seen earlier. IOCS close is internal ID of the file along with the directory entry address. Okay, so the same format or same syntax is being used here, right? So for 7th step. And 8th step is so now the IOCS will get the information about the directory entry of the file alpha from the FCB alpha and copies the file size and FMT address from this file alpha into the directory entry, right, the file alpha. So these steps have been recorded here from 1 to 8, and from examination point of view, so like you need to practice these particular 1 to 8 number of steps, right? Important steps in the file processing involving the file system operations as well as the IOCS operations. So for now, let me end this class. So for now, we can just practice these diagrams, okay, along with the 3 number of data structures, so which are used to have the interface between the file system and the IOCS layer, and those are FMT, file map table, FCB, file control block, and OFT, open file table. Okay, so you can remember this particular figure, right, where we have interface between the file system and IOCS layer. And to achieve this, these data structures will be used, and along with the information regarding the arrangement setup of opening a file alpha, like here is the figure, and the IO operations as well as the file operations supported by the file systems. Okay, along with the overview of file processing. Okay, yeah, so you can log out and join me in the next class. Thank you.